Welcome to the Nepali Diaspora Network podcast. We're your source for news, views, and, well, those critical insights for Nepalese all around the world.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a snapshot of Nepal that's really defined by tension, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's like the fading, lovely glow of Tihar bumping right up against some pretty hard political shadow.
Yeah. So our mission today really is to go beyond just the headlines you might have seen in the latest Nepali Diaspora Digest.
Right. We want to pull out the key insights, understand why these stories actually matter.
We're focusing on those friction points,
Yeah.
between the national celebrations we just had and some really serious structural issues bubbling up.
And this deep dive, it really centers on three big questions facing the nation right now. First, who actually belongs in Nepal's political story? Like the very definition of that.
A fundamental one.
Second, the absolutely staggering human cost and financial cost, too, of irregular migration.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And finally, trying to balance that out, where is Nepali talent really shining on the global stage? Because there are bright spots.
Definitely provides a much-needed counterbalance, as you said, to some of the domestic difficulties. It's quite the study in contrast for you, our listener.
It really is. You've got a nation struggling with internal ethnic parochialism, this narrow view of identity, while at the same time, its people are achieving these historic global milestones.
So let's try and unpack the implications of that duality.
Okay, let's jump straight into segment one then. This covers probably the most contentious political argument of the week.
Ah, the 24-karat Nepali debate.
Exactly. It just blew up after these rumors started circulating about Tashi Lhazom.
Right, the potential cabinet appointment as a Gen Z climate representative.
Yeah, and suddenly the focus wasn't on her expertise in climate issues, but all about her background, her citizenship.
And what's critical here, I think, is that this isn't just some minor political skirmish,
No, it goes deeper.
It really exposes these deep systemic fault lines. Political analyst Binay Mishra put it really well.
What did he say?
He noted that the whole controversy just highlights how non-Nepali speakers have been others in the grand narrative of Nepali nationality.
Others, that's a strong word. And the root cause, according to Mishra anyway, is the dominance of the Khaz-Aryan community.
Yeah, that's his analysis.
Yeah.
That it's fostered this nationalist ideology that constantly forces indigenous Janajati, Madhesi, and Dalit communities to sort of perpetually prove their identity credentials.
Like they're always under suspicion or something.
Exactly. That narrative puts people under immediate suspicion. And the scrutiny Tashi faced, well, it tragically echoed what happened with Dr. Sangeeta Mishra.
Oh, right. She was dropped as a ministerial candidate before because of similar citizenship questions.
Even though she held naturalized citizenship after marrying into Nepal. It's important to note, though, Dr. Mishra is now facing some pretty serious allegations herself.
Okay, what's...
ARS 140.06 million misappropriation case filed by the CIAA.
Yeah.
That's a Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, the anti-corruption body. So that's a separate development to keep in mind.
Right, okay. But focusing back on the identity politics aspect, the contrast is just jarring, isn't it?
How so?
Well, you look at Rabbi Lamashane, he also faced citizenship issues, right?
With his U.S. citizenship.
But he was able to relinquish it, and then he got reelected without this kind of relentless identity harassment.
That's a fair point. It does raise questions.
Doesn't it suggest that, rules can be bent or processes smoothed over, but maybe only for certain groups?
It certainly raises that uncomfortable question about conditional patriotism, you could say.
Yeah.
And some of the sharpest commentary we saw online on social media really boiled down this ethnic tension.
Oh, is the gist?
Well, one user wrote something like, when the Madhesis from the South progress, they say Indian. When the indigenous of the North try to progress, they term them Tibetan. Only those who live in this in-between are truly patriotic and true citizens.
That quote just perfectly defines that narrow, acceptable box for political power in Nepal, doesn't it?
It really seems to capture the sentiment. And it brings us right back to Mishra's really damning assessment.
Which was?
That both Tashi Lhazom and, in her earlier situation, Dr. Sangeeta Mishra, are judged as not representative of what is considered 24-karat Nepali.
24-karat Nepali. It's such a loaded term.
It absolutely is. And it tells us that success, or even just participation, seems to be measured less by capability, maybe, and more by lineage.
Which just undermines the whole idea of modern inclusive governance.
Completely.
So if this struggle for identity and inclusion makes people feel unwelcome, Well, let's look at the immense risks they face when they decide to leave Nepal altogether.
A difficult pivot, but a necessary one.
Yeah, we have to talk about the high cost of migration. These devastating reports of Nepalese migrants being deported from the U.S.
After traveling through those incredibly dangerous, irregular, lower routes. And this is more than just a migration story, isn't it? It's really an economic tragedy unfolding.
Absolutely. The stories coming out just show the sheer desperation involved.
And the terrifyingly organized networks of human exploitation that prey on that desperation.
We really have to look closely at the details of that young man from... Dang, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, the specifics are important. A local trafficker, basically a shopkeeper, convinced him to pay Rs. 6 million for this, quote, opportunity.
6 million. And the final cost was even higher.
Much higher. The ultimate cost ballooned to Rs. 8.26 million. Just think about that. A massive, life-altering debt for his family back home.
8.26 million rupees. That's an astronomical sum.
It really is, and it points to a major failure, arguably, of economic opportunity back home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And think about where that money goes. It suggests that significant potential remittance income is being funneled directly into these illicit trafficking networks.
Which just feeds corruption and undermines the formal economy.
Exactly. And then there's the human cost, which is just unbearable.
Tell us about his journey.
It was a nightmare. Through Colombia, crossing the Darien Gap in Panama, which is notoriously dangerous, then into Mexico,
All right.
where he was actually held captive for 11 days because the money hadn't arrived fast enough from his family.
Oh, my God. Held captive?
Yeah. And after finally reaching the U.S. border, thinking he'd made it, he was immediately detained. Spent 7 months in a U.S. jail
7 months?
before being deported.
Oh.
Returning home with absolutely nothing except crushing debt and undoubtedly immense trauma.
And this isn't just one isolated case, is it?
No, sadly not. The scale is alarming. The Anti-Human Trafficking Bureau confirms 468 Nepalese have been deported from the U.S. just so far.
168.
And Rukum and Dang districts, they rank highest for these kinds of illegal attempts.
Why those areas specifically, do we know?
Likely linked to historical migration patterns, established networks, and probably severe lack of local opportunities. The traffickers, they're just capitalizing on hope, charging anywhere between Rs. 4.5 million and Rs. 10 million per person.
10 million. It's unbelievable.
So for our diaspora listeners, this is a stark reminder, The organized exploitation driven by poverty and unemployment back home continues to prey on the most vulnerable in our community.
It's a devastating reality, and it makes the national celebration of Tihar feel almost bittersweet, maybe?
It does cast a shadow. But let's shift focus now, look at the cultural vitality and the economic drivers that do offer some hope back home.
Okay, starting with the recent festival.
Right. The Tihar Festival, the 5-day festival of lights, successfully concluded, celebrating everything from Kag Tihar, honoring crows, to Pam Puja, self-purification, and of course Baitika, strengthening sibling bonds.
It's such a vital cultural anchor for the country.
Absolutely. And that culture is also proving to be an economic engine in some ways.
How so?
Well, the Tihar Flora Expo held recently in Kathmandu, focusing on marigolds and other flowers essential for the festival.
Yeah.
It concluded with a really remarkable turnover of Rs. 10 million, and it drew over 35,000 visitors. So there's real economic activity there.
10 million rupees just from flowers for Tihar? That's significant.
It is. Though on the broader economic front, we saw some mixed signals this week.
Like what?
Well, the gold market was volatile. It hit a record high, Rs. 258,000 per tila on Friday.
Wow.
But then saw a sharp decline of Rs. 4,800 per tila on Sunday. So quite a swing.
What about banking?
That's maybe the bigger story. Commercial banks are currently dealing with what they call rising liquidity and sluggish credit demand.
Okay, break that down for us. Rising liquidity means...
Basically, banks have too much cash on hand, lots of deposits sitting there.
And sluggish credit demand.
Means businesses and individuals aren't borrowing much. They're not taking out loans for expansion, investment, things like that.
So banks have lots of money, but few people wanting to borrow it.
Exactly. And when that happens, when banks have excess cash and loan demand is low, they don't need to offer high interest rates to attract deposits.
So that's why the average deposit interest rate drops significantly, down to 5.1%.
Precisely. It's generally seen as a sign of a slowing domestic economy. Maybe uncertainty, not necessarily rapid growth.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, there was a positive note in banking. Global IME Bank won the Global Finance Best Bank Award 2025.
Oh, for the second year in a row.
That's right. So that shows some international recognition for stability, at least for that institution.
Okay, so a mixed financial picture. But what about the physical foundations? Infrastructure seems to be a focus.
Yes, definitely some positive movement there. Let's look at the infrastructure push. The Nepali army confirmed solid progress on the Kathmandu-Terai Expressway.
That's one of the big national pride projects, right?
Exactly. They're reporting 43.6% physical progress now.
And what's the target completion date?
They're aiming for mid-April 2027. And importantly, they've already achieved breakthroughs in 2 of the 7 planned tunnels.
Tunnels are always complex, so that's good news.
Very good news. This kind of huge critical infrastructure is absolutely essential for future economic growth, connecting the capital to the plains.
And it's not just that one highway, is it? Rural connectivity is improving too.
Yes, quite dramatically under the Kali-Gandaki Corridor project.
What's the latest there?
A new 25-meter motorable bridge over the Sarakola stream has just been completed.
Okay.
And that brings the total number of finished bridges on that key Benajamsam-Kerala Road section to 13 out of a planned 24. So steady progress.
Connecting those remote northern areas is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And speaking of connectivity, we also saw major roads reopening after severe weather disruptions.
Oh, right. Landslides are always a problem.
They are. The Mechi Highway in Ilam reopened after being blocked for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the Kambari-Kimathanka Road, which is part of the Koshi Highway, finally reopened after being blocked for a grueling 80 days.
80 days. Wow, that must have caused huge disruption.
Immense. So getting those arteries flowing again is vital for trade and daily life.
Okay, so some real progress on the ground there. Let's zoom out now from the domestic picture and celebrate where Nepali talent is really making waves globally.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Connecting that aspiration we talked about earlier with genuine major achievements.
Absolutely. And first up, a huge technology milestone.
You mean fuse machines?
Exactly. The AI company founded by Nepali entrepreneur Dr. Samir Maski.
What happened?
They've commenced trading on the NASDAQ Q stock exchange in the USA under the ticker symbol FUSE.
NASDAQ. Wow, that is a massive achievement for a company with Nepali roots. Huge for Nepali tech.
It really is. And critically, this isn't just, an American success story with a Nepali founder.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a story of talent repatriation almost and growth at home. Of the company's 350 employees, 260 are based right there in Nepal.
260. That's the majority.
Yeah. It proves that high-level, really cutting-edge tech work can be scaled successfully from Kathmandu. It's fantastic.
That's incredibly encouraging. And from those digital heights, let's go to the physical heights. Some amazing mountaineering triumphs as well.
Yes. On Karsten's Pyramid, which is Oceania's highest peak, we had dual achievements there that just symbolize pure determination.
Okay, tell us.
First, Makalu Lakpa Sherpa successfully scaled the peak. That marks his 4th of the 7 summits.
4th of the 7. Impressive. And he holds other records, doesn't he?
He does. The Guinness World Record for the fastest triple ascent of Mount Makalu in a single season. The man's grit is just undeniable.
Incredible. And who was the second achievement?
Hari Buddha Magar. His story continues to just inspire awe.
The former British Gurkha. A double above knee amputee.
That's him. He also reached the Karsten's Pyramid Summit.
Wow. That's amazing.
And this marks his 6th of the 7 summits. He's getting incredibly close now to completing the entire challenge.
6th. That is just phenomenal resilience. These are achievements of global magnitude, really showcasing the spirit of Nepalese people.
Absolutely. Okay, finally, let's quickly touch on the political path forward, the upcoming House of Representatives election.
Scheduled for March 5, 2026. Still a way off, but preparations are starting.
Right. Prime Minister Tashi Karki is holding consultations now with the major political parties, Nepali Congress, CPN, UML, RSP.
Trying to create a conducive environment, presumably.
Yeah, that's the goal. The government says it's operating with the mandate of the Gen Z movement, which demands reform.
But the viability of those elections really hinges heavily on security, doesn't it? Especially given the history of the recent protests.
True. And Home Minister Prakash Aryal announced that joint security patrols will be launched specifically for election security.
But there's more to it than just patrols, right? There was talk of looted weapons.
Yes, that's a major concern. They're trying to recover weapons that were looted during the Gen Z protests and also the prison movement that happened.
And this is where security becomes highly political. CPN UML chairman KP Sharma Oli made a very serious accusation.
What did he claim?
He claimed that 1,200 police firearms And get this, 100,000 bullets that were looted during the protests.
100,000 bullets?
Yes, have now fallen into criminal hands. Whether that's accurate or political maneuvering, addressing that perception of a security deficit is absolutely paramount if the election is to be seen as credible.
Definitely. Meanwhile, the Gen Z activists themselves, they haven't gone quiet.
No, they're still active. Demonstrations at Tihar, demanding a central conference, demanding justice.
And some of the injured protesters actually met with PM Karki directly.
What were their demands?
Action against those security personnel who opened fire during the protests, and also pushing for that necessary constitutional amendment they've been calling for.
So it's clear the mandate that brought this government to power. It's not letting up its pressure. They're holding the government's feet to the fire.
Yeah. The government's challenge is just immense, isn't it? Simultaneously preparing for a major election, tackling these serious security threats, trying to address corruption.
And fulfilling the mandate for institutional change demanded by this whole new generation of voters. It's a tall order.
It really is. Okay, before we leave you with our final thought for the week, just a quick resource shout out for our community members.
Go ahead.
For Nepalese living over in the UK, remember to check out belayat.uk, BELLYAT.uk.
What is it exactly?
It's a really helpful classifieds platform just for the community there. You can find jobs, housing, events, Nepali businesses, all geared towards Nepalese in the UK.
Sounds useful. Belayat.uk. Got it.
So wrapping up, what does this whole deep dive reveal this week?
Well, we covered a week that was really defined by that tension between aspiration and sometimes a harsh reality.
Yeah, from that essential but pretty painful conversation about ethnic identity that demands real national introspection.
To the historic NASDAQ listing for fuse machines and those monumental achievements of our mountaineers. It's quite the range.
We definitely see the immense structural challenges faced by Nepalese, both at home and abroad, especially the risks of migration and these fundamental questions of belonging.
But we also see that incredible potential and resilience shining through, particularly in the global community's achievements.
Definitely. And to read the full details on all these stories, access more curated resources, including the specifics on the deportations and the political debates.
You should visit Nepali-diaspora.net.
Nepali-diaspora.net. That's the place.
Right.
And here's our final provocative thought for you to mull over this week.
Let's hear it.
The whole debate over what constitutes a 24-carat Nepali citizenship. It contrasts so sharply with the reality that Nepal's economic success, its innovative success, it's increasingly being defined by those who are crossing borders.
Interesting point.
Whether it's launching a company on the U.S. stock market like Dr. Maskey or completing the 7 Summits Challenge like Lakpa Sherpa and Hari Budamagar.
So the question is,
what does true patriotism really look like when national identity and national achievement are increasingly being proven outside the nation's borders?
That's a deep one to consider. What does it mean for Nepal's future?
Exactly. Something to think about. We'll leave you with that. Join us next time for another deep dive.